All right. So, Namit, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. So, during the interview, it might seem that I am not listening to you, but I might be taking notes. So, you please continue with your answers.
Sure, sir.
All right. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, Namit. Hope you and your family are safe in this pandemic.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So, Namit, could you start with your introduction, a bit about your family, your professional career, your hobbies? Yeah.
Okay, so, sir, I'm Namit Garg. I am currently working in American Express in the pool personalization team in the data analytics field. I hail from Delhi. I currently live with my family and I have a joint family. So we are very close to each other. And this pandemic has brought us all together because, earlier I used to be with my college and I had not been at home for a lot period of time. I hail from Delhi. I passed out from IIT Kanpur doing my Bachelor's of Science in Mathematics and Scientific Computing. During my final year, I also led a team of over 200 students as the head events and competitions of Tekriti, which is one of the Asia's largest technical and entrepreneurial festival. In my pastime, I enjoy playing football and tennis, and I actively follow these sports. And I'm also interested in reading about the stock markets.
All right, Namit. So, what do you consider your biggest achievement till date?
Sir, biggest achievement, I would say that during my second year internship, I worked with a startup for a short period of time, and we were, very enthusiastic about that, the whole team, and we were able to publish a patent in the Indian Patent Service. So that was one of my biggest achievements.
All right. So, what was that patent? If you can explain it to me in 30 seconds.
Sir, in 30 seconds, so it was a patent which was more about automating certain tools and services regarding how to grow in a career in a professional way. So more of a starting step of what people face difficulties, such as how to identify which books to read for certain things or which companies to aim for certain jobs, how to have a personalized job recommendation system. We all integrated it into a automated chatbot.
All right. So, Namit, let's say there is a headline tomorrow regarding Namit in the newspaper. What would that be?
So one headline regarding me could be that there's a person who, as a maybe a person who got a job in a football club as an analyst from India, because not many people in India work with football clubs outside. So this could be one of the headlines.
So, I believe that is what is your aspiration.
So not my aspiration, but basically I am passionate about football. So I follow one of the clubs, and in further point of line, maybe I just aim to have a visit over there or just to spend time on how the club works.
So, what is your aspiration for yourself? Maybe, your long term goal.
So my long-term goal would be, having a venture of my own in the field of data science. So maybe mostly in the ed tech sector. So learning about how to, manage business and different aspects apart from the technical side, and then using all of this knowledge to help build something valuable in the education sector.
But how does an IM or, a B school align with your long term goals?
So basically, for starting a venture, there's a lot of knowledge that a person has to gain. So one of the major things that I would get from an IM or an MBA to be spot would be various learning, such as how to manage customer strategies, B2B, all reading about B2B and B2C marketing, different business analytics techniques that I would be incorporating and learning to build this venture. Also the incubation centers and the exposure that I would get by meeting people and working over there would also give me an exposure how to develop a certain idea into a big product and how to enhance my technical knowledge to improvise on a product.
Do you really think you need to go into an IIM to do that? The world is moving towards open source learning, and there are a lot of online learning sources. As you said that you want to start something in edtech, right?
Mhm.
World is moving towards skill orientation and away from that degree orientation. Don't you feel that?
Sir, I don't think that the world is, moving just towards skills. So basically, you could learn certain things from yourself, but obviously the exposure that you get at a very big management college, that you cannot have a, exposure anywhere else. So either you use your own skill set, but apart from the learning, I would say the exposure that you get working with different people in a diverse college such as an IIM, where you also develop your idea. So right now, if you someone starts just working on his idea, he would not have this diverse population view about it, how he would be managing certain different aspects. So all of these things and the exposure, I would say, is one of the greatest learnings someone could take from such an esteemed college.
All right. Let's say that you are taken up, maybe you're heading a company and two CVs come to you.
Mhm.
One is a CV of an IIM guy, and the other CV is of a another guy not from a premier B school or from a known college, but has the skill sets which you need for your team. Whom will you pick?
Sir, it depends basically because like how much the skill set values for us, we will have to see. Basically, if I see on a resume that this person has written some specific skills and the IM guy may not have mentioned those skills, but obviously by interacting with them and getting to know how they vision their, expertise in one of the subsidiaries.
Interaction will happen at later stage. Let's just say that you have to pick on the basis of CV.
Sir, I don't think that I could make a choice just on the basis of CV because we don't know what the person brings to the table. So obviously, we will have to check up on this. And if both of them have applied for our post, whatever the post is in the company, so obviously, just picking up on CV, I don't think that would be a very good reason to just select one person.
All right, all right. So, so when you say customer orientation or customer pull, can you explain that why that Indian government is moving towards a privatization model or a public private partnerships in airports?
So see, in airports, the main point is how, for the Indian government on a whole, I would just want to add one point is that the main problem that the government is facing right now is how they are, developing their resources to build up upon these things. So the same thing happened with the banks as well. So as we heard that they are also moving to privatization of banks is because the government being a central value has to have a lot of operations apart from just managing the airports. So they end up just ending much and more of their resources as a owner on these things. And apart from that, if there's a private value coming into it, there would be more of a factor. As you could see from the banking example, we could take that the if you compare two banks, basically SBI, which is a the government owned, and HDFC, you could see there's a large difference in the market caps of these, although SBI is a very well-renowned established brand. So what privatization brings into table is not only how they would be managing the business, apart from that, how they would be interacting with customers in a different way. So I guess the customer with the government is aiming at these things into more of a getting a private role into this thing, which could also, benefit the stock markets as well.
How does it benefit the stock markets?
Sir, just as I told you for the example of HDFC, so you would be having a firm which would have a much better IPO as well as having a much better capitalization, and that would already always help the Indian economy as well. So the government is in its privatization of banks as well. It is trying to, it is not directly saying this, but it is indirectly trying to mention that they are not, they don't want to enter into the business side where they don't think that the government has a role. So that's why in the financial services as well, they are just privatizing two of their banks so as to move into more of a private role there.
All right. So can you name a couple of instruments which are used by RBI to control inflation and their impact on inflation?
So, India being a free economy, so basically RBI here in India, what the main difference with other countries of RBI is that it does not interfere with the business until it is required. So basically, like in USA, you would see that the government is handling how the rupee, how the dollar changes with other, economies. Whereas in India, the major difference is that the government. Sir, you're not audible like this. You're on.
All right. I'm saying that you're taking too much time on this one. So let me move on to the next question. So um, the thing is that farmers' protest has been going on for a long time, right? Tell me
Yes, sir.
very distinctly and in a concise manner the two problems with the current farm reforms, agro reforms, and two advantages which might be there for farmers.
So the coming to the problems first, one of the problems with the current reforms is that there is no guarantee of a minimal MSP. So the farmers have not been guaranteed any minimal MSP that they would have. The second problem with the current reforms is that there was no view of farmers taken when the bill was passed in the Rajya Sabha. So if there was some involvement with the farmers, it would have projected these bills, which may be on a positive note in a more positive manner. Now, coming to the advantages, one of the biggest advantages is that the farmers will have their own freedom in dealing with whoever they want. So, just apart from dealing with the government mandis, they could also sell their products out directly to the private players. And the second advantage over here is that this would also help the middlemen because, according to the reforms, the middleman would also be then having a say on to which farmer he wants to deal with, and he would have that freedom as well. Middlemen, I mean the people who manage the mandis and who contact the farmer as well as the people who are buying the products.
So the both of the points are same only with advantages which you said. They're not distinct.
Yes, sir. One of the point involves the advantage for the farmers and the other for the middlemen. The farmers being that they could sell out of the mandis as well.
So that's open market basically. It's pointing to open markets only. All right. All right, Namit. So let me let me put you in a situation. Okay. Uh,
Mhm.
you want to start up and begin with a company, basically cloud kitchen, online food delivery service, right?
Mhm.
So first of all, tell me the biggest players which are there in this market. Second of all, what would be, you just have to be creative and tell me what would be the differentiating factor with your company which will help it last in that market. And the third thing is that you have to tell me three very important requirements which you need to get into this market.
Okay. So coming to the first question, obviously the biggest players in this market right now are Zomato and Swiggy. So they have been dominating the Indian market for quite a time. Now, coming to the second question, a differentiating factor that I would include is, so what I had felt that after the enforcement of the lockdown, so there was a lot of emphasis on how people, manage their health and all. So one of the differentiating factors that I would certainly look up to is having not only restaurants but having more emphasis on homemade cooks as my people who are delivering the food for me. So I would be basically taking orders from homemade chefs and contacting different housewives as well as people who are running their businesses from home, so they get a more of a healthier option for people out there who I'm delivering my services to. So I would be emphasis my emphasis would be on health as well, because health is industry where the government is also investing a lot. And the third point, so can you repeat the third question once again?
All right, Namit. So let's move on. There are big companies in the market, right? Like let's say there are giants like HUL, Cipla, or you know companies with huge cash reserves due to their history or long history of revenue generation.
Mhm.
What prevents a company, like maybe company like Dr. Reddy's or Cipla, which it's a pharmaceutical giant, to not just abruptly enter into a very different market, let's just say real estate? What prevents that company?
Sir, I mean, they already have their pharmaceutical businesses, and coming to Dr. Reddy, though they are investing a lot in the vaccines as well. So I don't see a need that why would they would want to enter the real estate market.
All right. So could they be successful if they decide to do so?
So they could be successful because the one of the major differentiating factors they have, that they're a IPO. They have an IPO. They're already recognized by people in the stocks market. So if they decide to enter any other industries, they would be getting an uplift from the stock market as well. So, but it all also depends on their implementation. Having a name is just one of the starting points, but how they implement their strategy in the real estate, because obviously they don't have any exposure of that, so that would be define how they go up with that things.
All right. All right. So, Namit, do you describe yourself as a hardworking person?
Yes, sir.
So, I believe that you must have already decided that what specialization you are going to take up in your college in 2 years of college.
Hmm. So I would say I would be taking up the systems or the analytics specialization.
All right. So, how does this specialization align with your short-term goals?
Mhm.
And are there any shortcomings or areas of improvement with yourself which you would like to improve in the coming 2 years?
So basically, coming to the first question, I would say that MBA in Systems and Analytics would give me the exposure of how to derive the maximum benefit for businesses using analytic tools. So right now, I am just only a tech guy coming from a technical college, but how I would be getting exposure of how to manage different products using a technology. So it would be more of understanding the business side of it as well. And one of the shortcomings that obviously I have is how to derive maximum business value out of my technical expertise. So obviously, being a technical guy, you could build some products, but how do you sell it? How do you, if I am going to enter into a B2B strategy, what are the strategies that I would use to tap other businesses? How will I manage my customer finances? All these things, all these electives, you could say, that I would be getting from these 2 years, which I would be taking, would further enhance my knowledge.
Okay. So let's say, have you been in conflict situations in your life, Namit, where you had to, you know, settle the conflict and be a mediator between the two parties, or you were one of the parties yourself?
Sir, there was this conflict situation. So basically, what happened was there was this project with this course that we had to do, and one of my friends asked us. He's a very good friend of me and my team as well. They asked me to just include his name because he had some personal issues and he could not work on projects. He just wanted us as a team to include his name, and he would be getting the marks and deriving the profit from our presentation. So that was one of the conflicts. What approach I took was basically, being a professional guy, I didn't want to, just include his name because the team was opposed to it and it was our hard work. And secondly, we also did not want to break our friendship as well. So we had to take a hard call that professionally, being professionally, we could not include his name. But later on, I went to explain him how we were very strong on our principles, and we also helped him, make his own projects. So although it was not very engaging for him, but we providing him a helping hand as a classmate.
All right. All right. So, what do you, Namit, what do you understand about Bitcoin and crypto, and how they are set to revolutionize the transaction stage we are in currently?
So basically, Bitcoin and crypto was set up in 2010. So Bitcoin being one of the first cryptocurrencies, It was launched in 2010 by a research paper that come up, and what the ideology was to have a cashless economy. So what people wanted is that they don't want the government to manage their resources, and hence they came up with the electric way of managing their whole money. So they did not want the government to levy taxes on that. And I would say that after 10 years, you could see there's a lot of improvement in the Bitcoin value. Uh, what I would suggest is, what I would have my stand on is that Bitcoin, just as we saw, it was proposed by the RBI to ban Bitcoin from India, but the Supreme Court did not allow for that. So I would say there's a revolution in Bitcoin, but people need to be more aware of, because it's a very volatile market. It's more volatile than the share markets as well. But for people who have that thought that government interferes with their money, it's a very good incentive to bring more money.
Right, right, Namit. So just building on the thing which you said earlier, that that you want to be an entrepreneur in future and maybe start your own venture in edtech. Have you heard of Pradeep Punia?
Yes, sir, I've heard of Pradeep Punia.
Right. So I'll just say a thought. The idea or the impact of online education could be, you know, teaching from one to many, right? One teacher
Mm-hmm.
and many students, maybe open source learning, maybe free education. And on the other side, the large edtech companies, they are trying to restrict it and portray a model of one to one, right? So that is primarily, which I understand is the stand of Pradeep Puni. So do you agree with this or you disagree, or what is your opinion around all of this, and how would you cater to the needs of your customers if you establish an edtech startup in the future?
Sir, I would say that there's what I would comment on is that there is no one-to-one method, even if you ignore edtech. So even if you come to schools, there is no place where you could get just one-to-one education, right? So even in schools where there's no technology involved, and the current model that was there before, there was always a system of one to many. What edtech improves upon this is that the problem solving focuses on giving personalized time to each student. So it's not that while teaching no student can ask questions. So obviously, if like I am teaching you on an online platform where you are teaching me, so there's always that one-to-one interaction. Whereas in class you don't have that option, because you are viewing you are viewing a screen with many students around you. So I guess that the edtech industry improves upon the one-to-many factor which was there in schools, and I don't think that theoretically or even practically it is possible to implement a one-to-one solution, because the number of students is way larger than the number of teachers in the whole education system. So this is one of the things that many edtech firms are doing. But coming to Pradeep Punia, also I say that he had some issues with the implementation of white hat juniors policies. So that was one particular firm, how they implemented some policies that were not very good. So he may be having a good stand over there, but I my personal opinion is that the edtech industry has only improvised what the schools had to offer.
All right. All right, Namit, let's move to the feedback. You completely missed out on my few questions, and in the last one also you missed out on the second question which I asked. What would you improve in your own startup, and if you have it in the tech stand, tech market, right? You're missing out on questions. I don't know what is the particular reason for that. Maybe in the rapid fire, you could be asked with 2-3 questions back to back, and you have to answer in that order. Good thing is that you're taking care of the order, but you are missing out. Like on the third question, when I asked about the online food delivery, the cloud kitchen
Right,
question, you
right.
missed out on that. That question was that what are the absolutely necessary things which you need to sustain in this market. After that, the friendship story is not aligning, yeah, because your work, how much is your work ex?
So 5 months.
So I would, yeah, that's less. You could have a story from your college, but this story is very low impact. Although it serves the purpose of the question, the impact is very low. So I would rather ask you to bring, have some solid examples example, some solid stories, maybe something around your tech kriti and the management which you were doing as a program manager there. But it always helps if you have professional instances. That is more
Right.
impactful. And apart from that, monetary instruments you are not aware of, you started saying something completely different, and you could always accept that you're not aware of the monetary instruments. It is basically repo rate and reverse repo rate. So
Sir, actually, I knew about repo rate, but I did not know that they're instruments. So I
exactly. So if you are not aware of it, it's always better to accept it that I'm not currently aware of it. Maybe I'll go back and read about it. Okay. So this is something which can help you. Privatization, again, I felt that you're not going in a fixed line about your answers. You came to the point in the very last. A couple of times I interrupted you because you were just for the sake of speaking, you were saying something. It's not important that you start with your answer immediately after the question is stopped. You can always take a few seconds, then start your answer, or you can ask for some time from the interview that can I take a few seconds to think about it. Frame your
Mhm.
answer in a nice way, and then it gives a very nice impact. I did not get into the personal side of you because there are certain stories I really did not like. That friendship wala story, that I did not want to spoil my friendship with the person. That's why I did not keep his name in the project. So I never explored your behavioral side. I kept it very fact based and learning based. Um, your your confidence is good. That flow is there. Those are the things which I liked. You had certain opinions and views about the current things which are going on with the issues. We did not get into the budget thing, but I feel that that is the thing. You need to frame your answers and keep on rehearsing them. Okay. And it is always better that you keep consulting your seniors or somebody whoever you are taking feedback from. Maybe take more mocks, because what I feel is that you have that urge to just you know take the bull by the horns and just answer very quickly. You just need to calm a little bit, and that will really improve the impact of your answers.
So basically, sir, framing the questions, oh, sorry, framing the
No,
answers in a
to
particular way.
the point. Address the question which is asked, and maybe restrict the content. It's good to have content, but it should be relevant to the question. To start from a, you want to reach to b, but that starting point is not related to the end result,
Okay, sir.
right? Yeah. So that is the feedback from my side, Namit. Best of luck for your calls and interviews.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All
Thank you,
right.
sir. Thank you, Namit.
Thank you. Thank you.